Good morning. It's 8 a.m. It's top of the hour. It's February 11th, 2015, and we're going to get started here right now. One of the coolest things I like in competition, and we are a very, very competitive group in this agency, in this region against the other regions in Freedom Equity Group. But one of the things I love is when we have people in the top 10 income earners for the week. And we always announce those every week, every Tuesday on the national conference call. And once again, we led the pack. We had the #1 earner again in the entire agency. When you consider it's an agency that has done in the last handful of weeks over $4 million in premium, and for the #1 income earner to be coming out of this region, it just goes to show that we do good work. We do great teaching, and I want to recognize for the group was the top earner for last week. Not only did he take the kudos of top earner, I believe he's probably leading the path in production for this week. He called me last night, and he is chipping away at those 401ks. He wrote a case last night for $1,214 a month of LSW, and he set his goals. And he's got the goals set a little bit high, but I love the goal. He set a goal this year to rock at $5,000 of monthly premium per week. You do the math, folks. That's 60 dimes a week. That's $240,000 a month. And you want to know what he said? This is easy. It's like taking candy from a baby. And he's a very competitive sports person. He loves his competitions. We've always talked football for years and years and years. He's been around for a long time. He's been a leader. He was an NSD as a national sales director, the highest level you could have gotten in Primerica. He's a co-founder with our company. He's in the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania area. He's been, for most part, semi-retired, and somehow we've kind of brought him out of the woodwork this past year. He's already done in this month $305,000 of annuity business with Phoenix, and he's getting pledged to make the Bordeaux trip. Now you've got 2 trips of LSW up for grabs right now. I saw the new one finally announced on the computer for $100,000 in life production for you and a spouse. In the year 2015, you and a couple are going to Cabo. Now, I happen to like that. I like the idea of Cabo. In fact, I love Cabo. I've been Cabo several times in my life, and one of my favorite haunts. And that's a nice trip. But the chairman's trip with LSW is up for grabs this year, and I got to tell you, there's a few people here that you could still pull it off this year. It would take a bucket load. You would have to average over $1,400 a week of monthly premium between now and June 30th and get it issued before June 30th. But it's not out of the question. $325,000 to be on the Chairman's Club is, it is a treat. I was the #2 producer in the entire world for LSW a couple of years ago, and I got to go on the Chairman's Club when FEG wasn't entitled to participate in their conventions. It was more for the career agents and things of that nature, and special IMOs. And they made an exception because I was their #2 producer in the world. Petronovich wasn't even allowed to go on the trip. And I went to Italy with LSW, and I was never pampered so much as I was on that trip. It was just an amazing experience, and it is one of the reasons I've always I've always loved LSW. Great company, good credibility, and it brings up the point of what I wanted to bring up today, which is I like calling 401k busters. You ever to Ghostbusters? How much did you bust away from the 401k people this week? It really is what it comes down to. How much did you take away from them? Did you take away a $300 a month contribution, $500 a month away from those greedy hands with those fees and those taxes and those government hands? I mean, folks, I want you to do everything you can to do a great job. And remember, it's a grade. I get graded every week. You get graded. Do you want to get an A+ on this grade, or do you want to flunk this grade? And what's the consequences of flunking? Well, I'm going to tell you what the consequences of flunking this grade. Your friends, your clients, your family. Your friends, clients, family. Flunking this test. What's in store for your friends, clients, and family? I'm going to tell you what's in store from taxes, yay, fees, fun, out of money. That's what's in store if you flunk that test. If you pass, no taxes, fees that end up being net zero. In other words, money back, and not out of income. You know, when I went to school, and this was a long, long time ago, when I went to school, the teacher would tell us on the first day of any class, if you study just a little bit, you'll be in great shape when test time came. Now, I wasn't one of those students. I was a bad student, as the other 90% were. We did the all-night cram session to get ourselves ready for those quizzes and tests. Test right here is way more important than an A or B on a quiz 30, 40, or 50 years ago for you. This test of being able to go out there week in and week out and take this money from our peers, our 401k people, take it from those money managers, take that money out of their hands and bring it here. And I don't care if it goes to Anico, LSW, F&G Life, even AGLA, AIG. It doesn't matter to me. They all avoid taxation. They all have net zero fees. They have great product. And folks, you have that choice. Brandon Carter's leading the way. A kid from Pittsburgh. He's not in the heart of 401k land here in the Bay Area. For those of you in California, you have no excuse to not do $2,000, $4,000 a week in monthly premium. Yeah, I said that figure. When I did my advertising, I talked about $50,000 a month. And did you know why I talked that figure? Did anybody ever understand that? See, if you were talking plain Jane life insurance money, yeah, I can understand not reaching that number. I can understand writing $6,000 a month. I can understand writing $8,000 a month. But we're not talking about plain Jane life insurance, are we? We're talking about using an insurance policy as a vehicle to store cash. That's different. That's different than anything else you've ever done in your entire career. And folks, it begins with knowing what to say and then what to do and follow the steps. The steps are not hard. They're really, truly not that hard. And you've got an edge now like you've never had. But you know what? They're steps. And for whatever reason, I had an epiphany the other day, and I came up with the opening line. The opening line that anyone here can use. And I swear to God, no one's going to say no to you. Use this line. Are you saving now for retirement? Would you like 300% more income at retirement time without spending 1 red cent more. Use your language, but basically, would you like 300% more income? We're talking about spending any more money. If they don't come back and say how, I'm confused, but how many times a day can you do that? Anybody? You can say that. Think about that. How hard is it to say that? Now, instead of showing the video, red line, blue line, I just want you to show a picture of the slide. Red line, blue line. That's where it starts. If you see no slide, which line would you want your money on? The red line or the blue line? Everyone, 100% will answer, I want the blue line. And yet, 99% of people we talk to will be playing on the red line. So let me show you the difference. And Jerry, if you're here, I want to retitle something in our stuff, and I don't know if Jerry's here or not. I don't see him on the system here. He might be here, might not. But Carl, see if you can mention for Jerry. I want him to retitle. This was the epiphany from the other day. You get a bunch of wires and you start thinking about things. I don't want saver A, saver B. I want it to be titled red line saver, B line saver on our calculator. This is the red line person. This is the B line. Let me show you the difference. And I get done. Now, which do you prefer? The red line person saving? Or do you want to start saving money like the blue person does? What we're talking about there is not that complicated. We're on to something there. We have them. Now it's time we want them to take possession. We got to have them take ownership. You take ownership. Now how do you take ownership? This is easy. You run the illustration with the company that you're working with. You run the illustration and you extrapolate the 3 numbers from the illustration. What are the 3 numbers we have to extrapolate from the illustration? The 3 numbers are simple. Death benefit, living benefit, income stream at age 70. Now there's more to the story in that because you still got to go back and explain to them what happens when they die, what happens when they get sick. This is explaining the annuity option, guaranteed income. And you got to show if the index universal life competing against the 401k. Because you're going to win. You get good at this, you're going to win, and you're going to become like Mr. Carter. You're going to start taking money away from those 401k people. And folks, you got to basically understand, what's the magic number? You're all agency owners in your respective cities. But there is a magic number. This is the great thing. That, there's a magic number in this. So I'm going to show you what I mean. I'm going to open up, if I can find it, and I believe I can. Bear with me for 1 second. But I need a calculator, and I'm not too sure where it's at, so I'm gonna find it. And I think this is last modified here. This is the new grid. So I'm going to put up this calculator. And I'm going to talk about you. And it shows at the BVP level, very, very simple level, showing $300. Yeah, you could have been Brandon yesterday, and I'm going to tell you, Brandon is way up here. He's a co-founder, been around NSD, done all these great things in his career. He sliced $1,214 yesterday. And if he did one of those a month, he's making $152,000. But you're not at his position. A lot of you are national VPs, but I'm going to slide back up here to BVP, a builder vice president. Average sale 1214. I'm going to bring it down to a nice easy figure. And $300 a month, one sale a month, you're making $30,000 a year. Now, if you're doing one of these a week, you're at 4. That's $120,000. If you're doing one a week, $300 a month, that's $120,000 out of your job. I don't think that that's a bad job in America at $120,000 a year. Now, what if the average was our national average at $500 a month? Our national average is $500 a month. You're now making $200,000 a year as a BVP. What if you moved up the ranks? What if you're, like some of our people here, they're national vice presidents. As an MVP doing one a week, you're making $218 a year. $500 a month, one a week. You see, I don't think one a week's enough. If all you're taking is $500 a week from our 401k compadres, you're not asking the question enough. Are you saving for retirement? Would you like to know how to have 300% more income without putting away any more money? I'm not saying that that's right, but it is a digit. And what if you had some brand new people in your organization? What if you had in your organization, those that are working the system, you had 10 people in your base shop. And let's just say for grins, they were doing one a week, 4, $300, $500. I'll tell you what, I'll reduce it. I will bring this number down a tiny bit. I'll bring it back to 300. You got 10 people doing a sale a week in your operation. That's $600,000 a year. You got 10 people working part-time doing a sale a week. And why do I say part-time? Because how long does it take to do paperwork and one app a week? We're talking about max you could possibly put into that is 2 or 3 hours a week of work. What a number. And what if they moved up the ranks? What if they were here and you had 10 people at the 50% level doing 4 a week? You're at $1.2 million a year. You know, I don't think people understand how much money is in this industry. You know, they sit down, they go to their jobs, they make their $50,000 a year, $75,000 a year, $100,000 a year. You can replace all day long with 100% matching funds and give them 300% more income. Do you realize how big a game changer that is? I mean, to me, this is what life's about. You get out there and you do 100 people do your workshop, and 30 to 40 people into your business, a family and friends for you to go see, besides your advertising. Family and friends that save money. Where do they save it? 401ks. Family and friends that if you don't flunk the test, and the only way to flunk it is not talk. You own a business. I guarantee you these steps are not that difficult. Step number 1 is an opening line. Getting to know them. Opening line. Go to a slide. Show them the red line. versus the blue line. Ask them, which one do they prefer? Most people are on a red line, but let me show you the difference. Let me show you why. And that's how that calculator retitled Saver A, Saver B. Actually, red line A, blue line B Saver. And I think that that's a way more appropriate way of titling that. I think when Jerry sees that, he'll retitle that, and I think he's going to love that, because I know I do. And then you got to take possession. How many people here have ever bought a car? Anybody? We've all bought a car. Have you ever been to a dealership to buy a car? There's psychology going on when you go there to a car dealership. What do? They get you to test drive. Even if you don't end up buying it that day, they want you to test drive a car. Why? Because in your mind, you take ownership of that car. When we do their numbers on our illustration, it is like giving them a test drive. They're taking possession. They're looking at those numbers and they're extrapolating it. Now, do you need to talk about guarantees? Absolutely. You got to talk. You got to give the whole story. You can't do part of a story. Do you have to do the best interest for the client? If you don't, you're out of here. I mean, we're intent on doing the best job humanly possible. And then last but not least, tiny things. Getting them to understand that there's a difference. That there are obstacles to a worry-free retirement. There's a ton of them. What are the obstacles? I talk about these all the time. Well, the first one is you. And you coordinates into two things. What are the two things? One, you don't save enough. That's not no one else's fault but your own self. You do not save enough. And that's because we live in a world, we live paycheck to paycheck. Fact. The second thing, it's our health. We do not take proper care of ourselves. We live in a land of convenience. We eat the wrong foods. We don't exercise enough. We make mistakes. Not going to change that. That's part of the world that we physically live in. And you've got to do the best you can on a daily basis. You do not save enough, and we don't take care of ourselves. Now, I'm not going to deal with today how to increase the income, how to increase their savings. We have to gain their understanding that there's a better way. We need to solve how to make sure that they understand the obstacles. Now, the first obstacle is them. What's the second obstacle? I'm sorry to say it. There's a second obstacle. Fees, cost of doing business. And it's not me saying it. If you don't have a copy of the government report, if you don't have that government report or all the articles and all the exposés from Bloomberg to the Consumer Reports magazine, there's a gazillion of them. The money managers, the average family spends $155,000 in fees in this country. And it basically accounts to half that they would save is lost. Half of what they would save is lost in fees. Never to be recovered. Never. Keyword never. Would you consider that an obstacle? Because I do. What do they get? What do they get for those fees? Expert advice? Expert advice on how to keep my money at risk and how to pay lots of taxes in the future, how to not get my goal done, how to run out of money. You got to take the money away from those people. They're the enemy. At the end of the day, how did you score up? 401k 1,000, FEG 7? Come on, you're in a competition. Every time you take money away from them, that goes on your grade, your report card for that week. At the end of the week, if you did 15 presentations and you found 12 401ks and you replaced 6 of them, well, I'd be happy with that number. You shouldn't be, because you left 6 people to Disasterville. You can't leave someone physically behind. I hope you understand that. I hope it makes a little bit of sense to you, a tiny bit. The third, that obstacle right there, fees, the second obstacle, that is an obstacle. The third obstacle, risk, call it harm. Call it anything you physically want to physically call it. I want you to think about that. Risk, harm, bad stuff. Something that can take your money away. Again, they're talking about a 6,000-point Dow. Yesterday. If that shouldn't give you a coronary, I don't know what will. That would give me a coronary if I. You've got a choice. Do we want to take? Do we want to get them out of risk? But Dave, I talked to my planner, and he said, you're going to put me in a life insurance policy, and you're going to eat up all my costs. I don't know. I can't. You know what? Life insurance is as boring as wallpaper. And unless you're intending to go out and buy wallpaper that day, we just don't read about it. A 6,000-point Dow is coming. What does that mean? That means 2/3 of everyone's retirement balance, 2/3, that is called gone. History. It doesn't mean it's not going to come back, but gone. That I call a big deal. I call that a factor that's bad. It's horrible. A 6,000-point Dow will destroy everyone's nest egg. Does it have to be that way? Are you going to let that happen to clients, friends, relatives? Are you? Or are you going to step up your A game and get and do like Brandon? The intention right now, because the time is now, to hit 5,000 a week. The third obstacle, risk. Horrible, horrible thing. But we're not done yet. We've still got one more obstacle. And the fourth obstacle is your uncle. If you didn't destroy your money by having your money in investments that could destroy it, not destroyed by fees, the fourth obstacle being your uncle, and we're talking about Uncle Sam. Uncle Sam, mind you. I love my uncles. Not this one. This is a tough one. This is called taxes. You can legally, in the tax code, use a life insurance policy to avoid legally taxes on the growth, spending, and transfer of assets. That last obstacle, we do not know where taxes are going. Every year they keep raising them. Capital gains are going up. Every year we have to sit, question, and wonder. We do not lack for choices of what markets we get to be in. We have lots of choices. We got stock market choices. We have real estate choices. We even have gold as a choice. And even with those three choices, we are able to eliminate risk and taxes. And yes, zero out the fees. Those choices make us the most impressive person on the block. Do you know how to run an illustration? My way, not the company's way, my way. Do you know how to use your tools, your PowerPoints and stuff so that you can make a difference out there? Does not matter if you know or not know. You still own a business. You could be the newest kid on the block here. All you got to do is hire the best. And we got some of the best here. You could hire a Brandon Carter right now in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Say, Brandon, I don't really know what I'm doing, but I got on a play with a guy who was doing $500 a month in a 401k. Let Brandon do it. Let Carlos Millsap do it. Let Ben Lazar do it. Let Michael Andrews do it. We've got talent in this room. There's somebody licensed in your back. If you don't know how to do this, you still have no excuse not to win for your business. How would you like to own an insurance agency and hire $1 million producer? I happen to be one of those $1 million producers. They don't grow on trees. And here's the good news. We're teaching you how to be $1 million producer because we're letting you specialize. You can't be something to everyone. You got to pick your niche. When you understand you can't do long-term care today, a little critical illness tomorrow, a little term insurance tomorrow, you got to become great at one thing. I like income planning. It allows me to use my living benefit life insurance, my death benefit, my living benefit portion, and my cash accumulation projections between life and annuities to be an income planner. I specialize in retirement income. I've had for years. I love the idea of putting people in business so that they can have more income, take control of their income stream in their household. I am a huge believer you should be an owner of a business, not an employee of the business. And as people come into the room and come out of the room today, maybe some of this sinks in. Maybe some of this right here today, you realize you get to leave this room. Here you are in the middle of this week on a Wednesday, in the middle of February of 2015, you go like, wow, I get this, because you have $17 trillion to go take. What percentage of that you take would constitute an A+ for you for the week? And I know what that magic number is. Anytime you are over $835 for the week in monthly premium, you got an A+ for me. That is the magic number. It is a great number. That means you took $10,000 that week from those bad people, 401ks. You minimize taxation to Uncle Sam. And you made sure that that client, family, relative, friend who have income long into their older ages, and for most of them, guaranteed predictable income, they take their last breath on this planet. It is your ability to do all those things. Now I want to share something that was shared with me on Monday before I took my sabbatical. And this is Ron Petrinovich created this the other day, and I just wanted to share it. It was a really good presentation. It was done in our meeting, and I just kind of wanted to walk through it. And it's geared towards our new product, Bethany, but it's a really nice presentation. And that's why I wanted to share it today. Retirement. 7 out of 10 families are concerned about not having enough to retire with dignity. Medical bills. Almost half the families are concerned about their ability to pay medical expenses in the future. Half the families are concerned about funding their kids' education. And 2 out of 3, that's 66% of the population, do not have a financial plan. Most of our country's retirement savings is in IRAs, 401ks, and 403b plans. And a large percent of money could be lost to risk, fees, and taxes. Many will outlive their incomes. What are you going to do about that, folks? Taxes are going to go up, according to the Congressional Budget Office. If they don't change Social Security, Medicare, or Medicaid, we already heard Social Security will be broke not in 2030, but next year. If you're in a low tax bracket of 10, expect to go to 25. If you're in 25, expect to go to 60. If you're a 34.9, expect to go to 88. Why in the world would you ever defer a tax bill, ever, to a later date when it'd be more? The book Power of Zero, it's 79 pages of intense reading. Every executive, every business owner should be made to read that. They have choices. We've got lots of great books. Pat Kelly wrote a book called Tax-Free Retirement. Dick Hinder wrote a couple of books. How to Enjoy a First-Class Retirement on a Middle-Class Income. We teach Index Universal Life. There's the slide, folks. That's the magical slide. Which line do you want to be on, the red line or the blue line? Warren Buffett, second wealthiest man in the world. He's got a couple of rules. Rule number 1, never lose money. Rule number 2, don't forget rule number 1. John Bogle, the founder of the Vanguard Group, one of the largest mutual funds on the planet. He continues in 1973 to 74. I went through 2001, 2, and 3. I went through another one, 2008, 9. They're scary. They're often terrifying, but it's typical. Prepare in the next decade for 2 declines of 25 to 30%, maybe even 50% coming in the next decade. Are you prepared to lose half your money? Tony Robbins came with a new book this year. Invest like the wealthy, where you participate in market gains but are not guaranteed not to ever lose when the market drops. So let's look at the old way of doing it, the low tech, the old way of saving money versus our high tech new way. You're putting money in banks from 10 basis points to 1. We've got a solution that gives you a fixed rate of 4.5. People invest in real estate. They buy real estate. It goes up. It goes down. If they want to do real estate with us, we'll give you all the gains less a 1.5% fee. And when it goes down, we'll give you a 1/4 point. Stock markets go up and down. You want to play in the S&P index with us, we'll give you a 13.5% cap. But when it loses, we'll still give you a 1/4 point. Gold, there's a lot of others swear gold's going to go to $8,000 an ounce, $10,000 an ounce. Well, I don't know. I have no idea. But it goes up and down. But if you're a die-hard gold fan, go ahead, jump on in with me. I'll let you get up to 14% a year. But when it goes down, it won't affect you, and you get a 1/4% still. Over on the left side, the profits are taxable, maybe just tax delayed. You know, tax means you're paying capital gains every year, or it's an IRA structure and you pay taxes later. On my side, I can design it to pay no income tax. Look at the slide, folks. You want to be in the stock market on the left corner right there, the Standard & Poor's 500? You got to pay a commission to buy stocks, and then when you sell it, you got to pay a commission so that you can move your money to real estate. You go out and buy a house, and a realtor is going to charge you a commission. And if you decide, oh my God, I can't be in this house anymore, you want to sell that house, You got to pay a commission to get rid of the property. If you want to go buy gold, you got to pay a commission to buy gold, and then you got to pay a commission to exit. Not with me. See that X right there? I can move every year, manage myself from one segment to another with no commission internally. Look at this comparison. Now this is using the S&P, the Dow Real Estate, and the Gold Index. So we decided to do a comparison. For a 5-year period, the last 5 years, 2009, 2014, the S&P 500 average return, you can see right there, 15.45%. Cumulative return, 105.14. If you look at that up there, the last 5 years, it's returned 15.45. The Dow Jones averaged 15.7, and gold lost 3.06 the last 5 years. With us, we would have made, of a 13.5% cap, 11.12. Real estate, we would have made 14.19. And gold, we would have made 3.08 instead of losing money. This one is 10 years back. For a 10-year look back, the S&P was 7.67, the real estate was 7.05, and gold was 7.99. Because we took out the losses, we were at 9.24. Real estate, we were at 13.84. And gold, 7.40. A 15-year look back. S&P did 4.24 over the last 15 years. Dow Jones did 11.68. Gold did 11.96. We averaged a 7.76. 15.87 on real estate and 7.69 on the gold. 20-year look back. The S&P had 9.85 total return with our cap, 9.17. We did 15.05 on real estate for the last 20 years and 6.81% on gold. How strong is that, folks? How strong is to take away the volatility of those three major arenas where money is held in this country and put us in a position of driver's seat? And then you got this guy, Mr. IRA Rescue. Mr. Let's go kill the government tax money-wise. If you haven't read and watched his stuff online, you're missing the boat. Because the only ship that you should be sailing on that has the right tax code is the ship that we drive. It's 8:44 in the morning, February 11, 2015. I'm going to open the mic to a few people here. And so I'm going to go first to Sacramento to Michael Andrews, our radio prognosticator, entertainer. Mr. Andrews, how are you?
Doing great, Dave. Welcome back.
Thank you. I came back strong, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Of course. Absolutely. Michael, any thoughts on today, what we covered here?
Well, this stuff here is really just powerful, and we just have to really engage ourselves and start talking to more people, and get into that ratio of talking to a large amount of people to really have a individuals that we're turning business in, myself included. And these numbers that you just went over with the slides, giving people that option and flexibility to have the ability to get into gold, real estate, and the S&P in one product is really substantial. It really speaks a lot. I know if I had a 401k, I would love this option. Not to mention, if I was an agent, I would love to speak with other agents about recruiting them. Can't
Okay, let's talk about that for a second. How many agents are out there?
Oh, good, thousands.
How many do you need in the 401 wars? Not counting the fact that we want to teach them how to advertise and put them in an office space and do all things that we do in this region. How many out there right now would love to have this product?
Oh, yeah. A lot of them
See,
would.
Michael, here you are, and I'm going to just pretend you're an MVP for a second. And you bring on a bunch of EVPs. In the course of the next year, you bring in 10. And they do one of these a week. $300 a month. Now, I know you agree, $20,000 a month of income. And I'm gonna erase all this here, so we can zero this out for a second. These are just licensed agents across the country. We've taught everybody how to do all these great things. But here you are doing your 4 week, 4 months. You're making $131,000 a year, and you got 10 people who are doing their sale a week. Is $20,000 a month a good income off of it?
I think I can live off that if I stretch it.
but if they go get their 10, and they do their one-a-week dance, what
Yeah,
and guess what? Did you move up the ranks?
You got 100.
I know you did. Probably to the founder level. What happened to your income?
You got to change. It's at 100.
I'm sorry?
You have it on 100 instead of 10.
Yes, I do. But why do I have that at 100?
Oh, forgive me. The 10, get the 10. I got it. Do 50. Do 50.
Huh?
Just
All
put
right.
5. You know, yeah.
They only get 5. Is that what you'd like me to do?
Yeah, let's do that.
Well, then you don't get the founder contract. You didn't do a good enough job. I'm bumping you back.
All right.
Daddy's got to eat. Does that even as executive national vice president, you're making $11,000 a month. That's a good job, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that figure. But by you sharing that with 10 other insurance agents, we didn't even improve their production. They're still doing the paltry one-a-week dance. But now you're making $328 plus your $139. But if they bring in 10 and give them the same contract, you're now at what income level? Yeah, that's $1.5 million a year. There's millions and millions and millions of people that have 401ks, 53 million to be exact. I hope you got the point of 401k busting. You and your team every week got to grade yourself. How much should we take away from that competition? But if you just took away $300 a week, and you got your 10 people taking away $300 a week, and then you only got them to get 5 to take away $300 a week, that's still $1 million a year job. That's the beauty of the SEG compensation. Anybody can go by themselves. Folks, I can give you a 100-point contract right now in the insurance world, not 81%, and you'd make $3,600, $175,000 a year, or you can make $1 million a year. Which do you prefer? This contract is the most powerful contract in the history. And you look at this right here, Michael, all the BVPs, level 15, 20, 30, 40, you got 12 points on them going down infinitively. It is the strongest compensation plan in the world. If those 50 people went out there and only got one each and got 50, and they did their 4 dance, and then those 50 people got one each that did one a week, and those 4 went out and did their one person, and I could have used 5, and here we are in the third. I'm using the 6th level. And we'll scroll down and look at the total on this thing. It's only $6 million a year. Learn to share the story. There's a lot of wealth. And imagine 260 people located in an office that didn't charge them, taught how to advertise. These numbers are bigger than that. But for today's sake, you need to understand it's the compensation system itself that allows each and every one of you not to just dream about major success and major revenue, but to make it a reality. With that said, folks, it is 9 minutes on top of the hour. Thank you, Michael. I want to thank all of you for being here today. It's time to go to work, and let's see how much money we can take away from our 401k counterparts. Thank you again for all the well wishes yesterday, and everybody have a great day. We'll see you all tomorrow. Fight the good fight. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.